bitter feud between President Donald Trump and House Speaker Nancy Pelosi boiled over at his State of the Union speech on Tuesday, with Trump snubbing her outstretched hand and Pelosi ripping apart a copy of his remarks behind his back. Trump delivered the astonishing snub to Pelosi as he started his speech by ignoring her as she offered him a handshake, which set the tone for a full-throated condemnation of his political enemies and his presidential predecessors in front of a divided Congress. He simply turned away as the speaker took her copy of his speech, then stood in front of a chamber which echoed with cries of 4 more years from Republicans. That moment set the tone for the rest of the night. Pelosi, at times, was seen biting her lip or holding up a page of the president's remarks close in front of her face and staring at it intently as the president launched zingers at his political enemies through bragging about policy accomplishments or attacking what the Democratic opposition wanted to do. She shook her head when Trump claimed he saved the pre-existing condition provision of Obamacare, a law Pelosi fought to get passed and the president tried to dismantle. The speech was so contentious and divisive that Pelosi tore it up when the president was done speaking. As he left the dais, she ripped the pages in half and threw them down. Democratic lawmakers also fled the chamber in droves when Trump was done talking. "I tore it up," Pelosi told reporters after the speech was over. "It was the courteous thing to do considering the alternative. It was such a dirty speech." The 1 hour and 20-minute speech veered back and forth between campaign rally and reality TV show. In between bragging about the American economy and his killing of Iranian General Qasem Soleimani, Trump handed out awards and reunited a military spouse with her husband, freshly home from Afghanistan. It was a combination of the moments Trump loves best, the made-for-television attention-grabbing tactics with overly boastful claims of his accomplishments. And through it all Democrats sat and watched, mainly in silence, some so infuriated by the spectacle they left the chamber. The one word he didn't mention in his nearly 6,000-word speech was the I word, impeachment. The Senate will vote Wednesday on whether or not to convict him on the 2 articles against him, abuse of power and obstruction of Congress. He's expected to be acquitted in the Republican-controlled chamber, where it would take a 2/3 vote to convict him. But even though the word wasn't mentioned, it loomed over the bitterly divided atmosphere in the room. America's enemies are on the run, America's fortunes are on the rise, and America's future is blazing bright, Trump said. In just 3 short years, we have shattered the mentality of American decline and we have rejected the downsizing of America's destiny. We are moving forward at a pace that was unimaginable just a short time ago, and we are never going back. Trump's speech resembled a lower-volume version of his campaign rallies, providing something for every section of his political base. He spent much of the speech highlighting the economy's strength, including low unemployment, stressing how it has helped blue-collar workers and the middle class, though the period of growth began under his predecessor, Barack Obama. Trump stressed the new trade agreements he has negotiated, including his Phase 1 deal with China and the United States-Mexico-Canada agreement he signed last month. He vowed to protect 2 entitlements that are the benchmarks of democratic values, Medicare and Social Security. "We will always protect your Medicare, and we will always protect your Social Security. Always," he said. He also got a snub at the progressive call for universal health care, known as Medicare for All. It's not only a hallmark for liberal members of Congress, it's being touted on the campaign trail by Democratic presidential candidates Bernie Sanders and Elizabeth Warren. Many experts believe that transparency, which will go into full effect at the beginning of next year, will be even bigger than health care reform. It will save families massive amounts of money for substantially better care, but as we work to improve Americans' health care, there are those who want to take away your health care, take away your doctor, and abolish private insurance entirely. 132 lawmakers in this room have endorsed legislation to impose a socialist takeover of our health care system, wiping out the private health insurance plans of 180 million very happy Americans. To those watching at home tonight, I want you to know, we will never let socialism destroy American health care, Trump said. He attacked Democrats, and Pelosi's home state of California, for their stance on immigration, another topic he uses frequently on the campaign trail to rile up his supporters. Over 130 legislators in this chamber have endorsed legislation that would bankrupt our nation by providing free taxpayer-funded health care to millions of illegal aliens, forcing taxpayers to subsidize free care for anyone in the world who unlawfully crosses our borders. These proposals would raid the Medicare benefits of our seniors and that our seniors depend on, while acting as a powerful lure for illegal immigration. That is what is happening in California and other states. Their systems are totally out of control, costing taxpayers vast and unaffordable amounts of money, Trump said. He also bragged about his border wall, which Democrats have refused to fully fund. This will be a tremendous boon to our already strongly guarded southern border, where as we speak a long, tall, and very powerful wall is being built. We have now completed over 100 miles and have over 500 miles fully completed in a very short period of time. Early next year, we will have substantially more than 500 miles completed, he said. The chamber was notably quiet during several portions of his remarks on health care and immigration. Many Republicans wish to reform Medicare and Social Security. Plus, the political attacks on the president's rivals were an unusual addition to the State of the Union address, which usually focuses on the president's vision for America and his goals for the coming year. At one point, Pelosi put down the text of the speech and simply shook her head. Some of her Democratic lawmakers fought back against the president, standing during his health care remarks to shout, "H.R. 3, H.R. 3. That bill is the legislation that would lower prescription drug bill costs. It passed the House but died in the Republican-controlled Senate. Pelosi named it after the late Democratic Congressman Elijah Cummings, her close friend who championed the measure. Emotional Rush Limbaugh receives the Medal of Freedom from Trump during State of the Union address after he revealed advanced lung cancer diagnosis in one of the more unusual moments of the night. Trump awarded conservative talk radio show host Rush Limbaugh the Presidential Medal of Freedom, the nation's highest civilian honor. Limbaugh announced earlier this week he had advanced lung cancer. He was seen being brought into the Capitol in a wheelchair Tuesday evening. Trump, in his remarks, praised Limbaugh's career and his reputation as a fighter. Almost every American family knows the pain when a loved one is diagnosed with a serious illness. Here tonight is a special man, beloved by millions of Americans who just received a stage 4 advanced cancer diagnosis. This is not good news, but what is good news is that he is the greatest fighter and winner that you will ever meet. Rush Limbaugh, thank you for your decades of tireless devotion to our country, he said. Then he added his surprise for the host, who was visibly shocked at what Trump said. Rush, in recognition of all that you have done for our nation, the millions of people a day that you speak to and you inspire in all of the incredible work that you have done for charity, I am proud to announce tonight that you will be receiving our country's highest civilian honor, the Presidential Medal of Freedom. The president asked First Lady Melania Trump to do the honors. Limbaugh was seated next to the First Lady in her box above the chamber. Melania rose to put the gold medal, on a bright blue ribbon, around Limbaugh's neck, pausing to straighten so it laid properly against his suit. State of the Reunion. Tears of joy as Trump reunites Army family. One of the many jaw-dropping moments of the night came when Trump reunited a Fort Bragg, North Carolina soldier with his family. The wife and 2 children of Army Sergeant Townsend Williams, who was deployed in Afghanistan, were among Trump's guests at the address to Congress. He began to tell their story, in Williams' absence, by introducing his wife Amy Williams and their children. Where places a heavy burden on our extraordinary military families, especially spouses like Amy Williams from Fort Bragg, North Carolina and her 2 children, Trump said, explaining that Williams' husband has been in Afghanistan on his 4th deployment. Amy's kids haven't seen their father's face in many months. Amy, your family's sacrifice makes it possible for all of our families to live in safety and in peace, and we want to thank you. Thank you, Amy, Trump said, prompting applause from the chamber. Williams stroked her son's hair while her daughter clutched her arm as Trump, in a stunning move, announced he was back from deployment. But Amy, there's one more thing. Tonight, we have a very special surprise. I am thrilled to inform you that your husband is back from deployment," Trump said, as the reality dawned on Williams and she put her hand over her mouth. The applause got louder. "Single quote, H is here with us tonight, and we couldn't keep him waiting any longer," the president said. To Amy's visible shock and near tears, her husband walked down the stairs in his dress uniform to embrace his children and hug his wife. Lawmakers on both sides of the political aisle, including Pelosi, stood to applaud. Some shouted USA, USA, USA.